Welcome to the Sydney Property Muppets podcast. My name is Kurt Lawther. I'm the real estate agent, and with me forever is
Chris Clark, the buyer's agent. Thank you.
That's right. Chris, like to pump your tyres up.
Episode 40.
40.
Can you believe it?
Mate, that's about your age, right?
Not far off, thank you. But this is number 5 in our exclusive series on buyers negotiations. Then we're at about 8 in total.
About 8 in total. That's about correct. See how many
about
times we can put the word about. Chris, I was going to say, the Olympics are currently on. We're almost getting to the end. Australia, you're doing fantastic.
Amazing.
And I found an interesting comparison between auctions and watching the Olympics.
feel like this is a loose link in, but go on. I'll play along.
Look, I'm on the couch, and I'm sure everyone else is as well. And when someone's not doing something perfect, or they're not running as fast, or not swimming as fast, I'm the first to complain, to be like, "Oi, what are you doing? It's not that hard. I could do a better job."
Definitely see that meme of, guys sitting on the couch or lazy on the couch eating something, and the diver goes down. There's like a little tiny splash, and the guy's like eating his chicken. Whoop! So how does that compare to being auction ready? What are you talking about here?
So from my experience, a lot of people think because, like the Olympics, you're watching it, you're seeing it. Look, the professionals make it look easy.
Yeah.
That at auction is just because you talk about it, you almost breathe it in Australia, whether you're a part of it or not, that it is easy to do.
Yeah.
And from a real estate perspective, it is not.
No, I think talked about this previously or offline, you and I talking about, you can go on YouTube these days, you can watch auctions there, you can go to some nearby, some auction houses, there might be an auction coming up nearby. So you're doing all this in preparation for the auction you participate in. But like the Olympics, you can go along and watch 1,000 marathons, but that doesn't mean you're ready to run the marathon. And I think a lot of people the first time, I find with a lot of buyers who do it themselves, first time they go, they typically don't win. Wish they did win, but typically they don't. And then quite often they stop looking for the next 3 months. Look, it's that much of a bruising, ego, hurt. They told all their family they're going to go to this auction. Everyone's asking them. They actually stopped looking for 3 months.
Yep.
And in the meantime, markets move, things have changed, and their frustration for why they're looking is still there. So I think it's so important, and finding if you can go to an auction with an expert.
Yep.
So an athlete. So if you can hire one of those athletes to represent you, why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know, Chris. I got no answer.
So the example would be a buyer's. You can hire a buyer's agent to do auctions.
Yes. Yes. I was just going to say as well, forgetting the result of the auction from the agent's perspective, just dealing and watching the difference between a buyer's agent, maybe someone who is seasoned, at least experienced, they've bought at multiple auctions, maybe for friends, for families, at least. You can still see that difference between an amateur, but just a buyer's agent's level, they do it day in, day out. It's second to none. Yeah.
There's no doubt the first time you go to an auction, or even the first few times, and sometimes you can literally have an agent. I had one recently, the agent was directly in my face, not really in my personal space. I wouldn't say going above and beyond, but really in my personal space. And it was quite awkward. Now I've done these hundreds of times, so that's okay. And there's lots of been auctions, and the agent's not even come over once. And what that's told me very quickly is the numbers I've been sort of spruiking or thinking about, they've obviously had somebody or a few groups way higher than that. So, and another benefit to having someone like that, either an expert or if you have a buyer's agent who can just do part of our service, we can just offer the auction bidding, is, I talked about this previously, the worst case scenario for a lot of people is the nightmare is they have the highest bid on the auction, but they haven't hit the reserve. And they've got to go to the dreaded front bedroom or the vendors in the back lounge.
That's what we do. We've had 5 parties one time, and we each locked them in a separate room and started picking away at them.
Pulp Fiction style. No, not quite. But, there is that element around, once you engage a buyer's agent service to bid at auction, we will be there until it's done, even if that means it's taken 2 more nights and takes them Monday to get the deal done. You've got those expertise there engaged all the way through. Best case scenario, you put the number out of the auction, you win for a number you're happy with, but there are worst case scenarios to go through as well. Now, dovetailing from that into preparation, so regardless of that preparation to be going to an auction, what are your thoughts on how many numbers, or what are the different sort of approaches? Maybe let's not ask your thoughts. What have you heard? Did people have different approaches on numbers first?
To break it down,
Yep.
generally I've heard anything from 3 numbers to 2 numbers to 1 numbers. If we break it down, yes, there's all these different tactics and all that, but I've heard there's people have 3 numbers, 2 numbers, 1 number.
What do you mean by that?
So 3 numbers is have your dream price that you can get away with it, have then a second price where it's like that's your actual number, and then you walk away, which is your top.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, you have your cheap, your market value, and your walk away price.
yes.
Okay. Yep. Sounds confusing, but go. You and I both know that's confusing, but go on. What's the second
The
option?
second option is have the price you want, but then if it goes just a smidgen more, you've got your walk away price.
Yep.
So it's basically a step level, and then obviously 1 number is just having a walk away number.
Yeah.
I don't think there's merit in having and if you are not a buyer's agent, like if you're a buyer's agent, you know that final number, so you know how to handle it. But if you're not a seasoned person at auction, having all these different numbers, from my experience, is only going to confuse you.
Yeah.
Which is why I used to sit at that having the 2 numbers, because I know people can't often control themselves. But after, just over time, I've just sort of gone down to just have the 1 number, just have the walkaway number. If you get it for cheap price, brilliant.
Yep.
But just have the 1 number. That's my personal thing.
I think it makes. I believe that I was the same as you originally. Not so much the 3 number, but did believe in having at least 2. No, actually, very outset I used to think 3 numbers. Then I quickly went to 2, and now for the longest time just that 1 number. And I think the benefit of the 1 number is if you have 3 numbers and the price goes above your first, you start to go, okay, I've lost my first. I've lost that magical one, and then it goes past your second one. You're like, oh, I've lost that second one, and then if you even win the property for your maximum or just under your maximum, your own how you feel emotionally, even though you won, forever can be then tarnished by, oh, I didn't get my cheap number and I didn't get my good number. I got the other number. Whereas if you just have 1 number, and you win it, your story everyone is, I got it for at that price, I got it for less than what I was prepared to go for.
And from an agent's perspective, when I've seen people not have that clear number, because if you have that clear number as well, there's no doubt. Because, for example, you might start doubting yourself whether you want to go to your maximum. Whereas if you just have that maximum, as soon as someone bids above your bid, you just go back at them straight away. The amount of times I see people deliberating, talking to their partner, talking to their friend, it's only actually encouraging the bids to continue to go higher. Because the other party's going to be like, well, they're still not certain on where they're going to end, rather than just bidding hard straight away once obviously you get to that point.
Yep, I agree.
Perfect.
Other thing, so summarising, have an expert, have the professional there for you, have 1 clear number, and another thing we always say, haven't really dug into this one, but just go by yourself.
Yep.
One of my favourite things when I see other bidders come and they've got their wife, sometimes they've got their kids, sometimes they've got their mum and dad, sometimes they've got friends for support. And I get it's beautiful to have support, but it's like playing a weird thing. I say, you never play poker with 2 people.
Why not, Chris?
Because you're going to be either talking about the cards or demonstrating. Now, you could still bluff, but it now requires 2 people to bluff, and also on the other side, you've got 2 people trying to read your bluff over all this cues, where you see
Not
most...
professionals as well.
And not professional. No, agreed. I've gone to the casino and I've come out definitely on a down than a high, but got a free drink while I'm there. So have just yourself there. That's the last point I'd say for this.
Yeah. Well, for me, to sum it up as well, I would say that, yes, we've sort of indicated that an experienced buyer's agent is going to basically, they've got a lot higher chance of winning the auction. Doesn't necessarily mean they will, because their budget might just not be there compared to someone, but their chances of winning and psychologically winning the warfare is a lot higher. And if you don't want to use a buyer's agent, find someone who is the most experienced and sort of probably most withdrawn from the emotion of attaining the property.
Yep. All right, on to a little game.
Yep.
We're going to this one a bit new for us. We haven't done this before, but I have pinched this from somewhere else. So thank you. We got the chocolates. They've borrowed from them.
We got the chocolates.
This is called Must or Dust.
Must or Dust. Now, I haven't played this. Chris is bringing this up to me for the first time.
So very simple. Not really a game. It's more just to get your immediate thoughts or your thoughts on something. So I'm going to give you some examples, all about auction related.
Yep.
and or you can only choose must do that, or dust, never do it.
Okay, yeah.
Sort of like we've had before with the 3 quick questions, no chance to defend yourself. Okay, must or dust? Get into the auction very early, or get in the auction late? Should you get the auction very early?
Must.
Must, okay. Get in the auction, does it matter, or should you prioritise be suited and booted and looking all things wonderful, or raggedy riches, raggedy clothes?
Trying to work out how to say must or dust for this.
So should you be suited and wearing your Sunday best?
Dust.
Dust, okay. Should you be standing at the auction at the very front of the crowd or at the back? Front, so you can obviously you own the space, but at the back you can see everything.
I'm going to say must.
Must is which one? Must is
For standing at the front.
at the front. Very good. All right.
I'd love to expand on those.
Oh, it's good. We can definitely do that another time.
Yeah. So my 3 quick cues are: how much do buyers agents typically charge for an auction?
Typically, if it's just for engaging the auction,
Yeah.
typically somewhere between $500 to $1,000 to be engaged, and usually that number again if you secure the property.
Yeah. I thought that might actually be a good question
Yeah,
for the
it's
viewers.
fine.
The two, that was actually the second question. The weirdest auction date and time you've gone to?
Sundays like 10:30 and things. I just think you've got the availability of a Saturday. Why was it Sunday? But anyway.
Bacon and eggs are
weirdest
better on a Sunday, mate.
Maybe.
And would you rather spend 24 hours walking around a museum or 24 hours listening to classical music?
Oh,
You heard it here first.
I think a museum. Yeah, I quite like. I think the audio after 6 hours would drive me insane. I like classical music, but yeah, and I think more museum. You can always look at different pieces.
Okay.
Well, very good. Thank you for dropping by for our 5th of 8 series on buyer's edition negotiation tactics. Hopefully it's been worthwhile.
If you have someone who's about to go into auction, this is the perfect series or negotiation. This is the perfect series to get them onto, and specifically with preparing for auction this episode.
Thank you for dropping by.